INFJs are warm, caring individuals who are deeply sensitive to what other people need and are feeling. Also known as the counselor or the advocate, this Myers-Briggs type is not only the rarest, but also the most special, as many people believe their insights can make the world a better place. Just like any personality type, INFJs too have a healthy side where their shadow traits balance their primary cognitive functions, and an unhealthy side where either one of the two cognitive sets dominates the other. A healthy, mature INFJ is a force to be reckoned with, for they never fear failure. Here's what happens when this personality type reaches maturity and why they never fear failure. Number 8. They prioritize their own needs. INFJs love being generous towards the people they care about so that they can make them happy. While this is an admirable quality, the selflessness can compel people to take advantage of them. An unhealthy INFJ constantly puts others' needs ahead of their own and ultimately becomes exhausted, disconnected from their sense of self, and unhappy. A mature INFJ, on the other hand, prioritizes their needs and sees their feelings as valid. This gives them newfound confidence in themselves as they try to understand themselves better. It allows them to be more empathetic towards those who actually deserve it. A mature INFJ's happy and harmonious nature can keep fear of a failure at bay. Number 7. They listen to others' perspectives. Unhealthy INFJs are super attached to their subjective viewpoints and can be quite stubborn if anyone challenges their opinion. Instead of having a friendly debate where they take into account the perspectives of the opposing side, they stand firm on their ground and leave. This tends to happen when an INFJ has a repressed auxiliary function, that is, extroverted feeling, or when their dominant or tertiary functions have not matured in positive ways. This can lead to isolation from social groups and unhealthy habits like binge eating, risk-seeking, and others. INFJs hate conflicts and either leave conflicts directly or insist that others resolve their issues with each other as soon as possible. This is because they tend to absorb the feelings of those around them, and if there's anger and frustration around them, they feel stressed. They may even try to take control of the situation to end it prematurely without listening to others. Healthy INFJs, on the other hand, are all about perspectives. They're always open to hearing what other people have to say and love to empathize with everyone's unique viewpoints. They realize that healthy conflict can promote growth. In fact, they don't mind the challenge of a debate or a new way of looking at things. In fact, they're excited by it. Number 6. They accept their differences. Unhealthy INFJs have a hard time not taking every little thing personally. Any form of criticism is viewed by them as a personal attack, and they quickly resort to defenses like me versus the world scenario in their head. They take on the role of the misunderstood misfit to cope with isolation and may tend to become self-absorbed and oversensitive. Most people perceive things at face value, whereas INFJs are incapable of not introspecting things. This adds to their isolation and makes them feel misunderstood. They want to belong, so they try to adapt to the world around them by mimicking what is considered normal in society, even if they feel unhappy. Once they mature, INFJs begin to accept their moral opinions, their deep interest in some things, and their lack of interest in other things. They accept that their emotional depth will probably never be welcomed by most people around them. But since they're mature, they stop desiring validation from others and live life more authentically. They adopt a new, confident approach where they believe that the people meant to be in their lives will accept them for who they are. Otherwise, they're better off without them. Number 5. They have healthy boundaries. Unhealthy INFJs consciously let people take advantage of them since they're paranoid about what other people may think about them. They tend to misinterpret harmless comments or body language as signs that others dislike them or are angry with them. These types of INFJs crave tons of attention and validation from loved ones. They may have trouble saying no or establishing healthy boundaries. At the same time, if this behavior continues, the INFJ may become reclusive since they experience high levels of stress trying to decode what people actually think of them. Unhealthy INFJs harbor bitterness towards the people they're helping if they feel they're being taken advantage of. They keep a mental checklist of everything they have done for others and compare how little they receive in return. This usually happens in INFJs who haven't received a lot of positive affirmation while growing up. They may have been raised in a hostile environment where they were misunderstood or their strengths were considered weaknesses. Once INFJs mature and own their strengths, they accept their weaknesses for what they are. They experience a whole new level of personal confidence and growth, and less insecurity, which allows them to tackle any challenge head-on. Healthy INFJs know when to say no and don't hold grudges against those whom they do favors for. Number 4. They communicate effectively. Since INFJs are introverted by nature, they recharge by spending some time alone and having some me time. However, unhealthy INFJs tend to take this too far, and they completely isolate themselves from others for extended periods of time. They get wrapped and engrossed in their analysis and thoughts that they don't put their ideas out in the open. To make their valuable insights and ideas usable and useful in the real world, INFJs need to harness their extroverted functions, sensing, and feelings. Mature INFJs know how to balance their alone time with the activities happening around them. They talk to friends, engage in meaningful conversations, and experience new things, which inspires them. It also gives them new, better ways to bring their novel ideas to fruition. To them, their alone time, no matter where they are, is like their sanctuary where they can restore their soul, meditate, find peace, and do everything that brings them joy. They use their alone time not as a way to escape, but to contemplate deep questions about their universe, their purpose, and more. After their alone time, they reemerge into the world without fear, better and ready to face any challenge life throws at them. Number 3, they don't slam the door on others unnecessarily. The INFJ door slam, that is, when an INFJ completely cuts someone out of their lives like they never even existed, can be a healthy mechanism that protects them from the toxic, abusive relationships. Unhealthy INFJs, however, are quick to slam the door without even trying to resolve any underlying issues. Instead of being the last resort, the door slam becomes the first course of action for a disgruntled, unhealthy INFJ. It becomes the key to solving problems that they don't want to deal with, and they begin approaching everything from a defensive position. Healthy INFJs try to resolve conflicts maturely by taking all perspectives into account. Since they have higher emotional intelligence, they're a lot more measured with their thought processes and reactions. They tackle conflicts with an emphatic front and try to de-escalate tough situations to the best of their capabilities. If they do choose to slam the door and cut someone out of their lives forever, it is for good reason and truly necessary. Number 2, they know how to tackle group stress. For unhealthy INFJs, group stress can be debilitating and even paralyzing. Group stress is when INFJs fall into the grip of their inferior function, that is, extroverted sensing, when they experience sudden chronic stress. INFJs who experience this can become abnormally focused on indulgent sensory experiences as a means to escape their lives. They might throw caution to the wind and eat excessively, organize obsessively, or binge-watch TV shows on streaming platforms. While mature INFJs are not strangers to group stress reactions, they take a minute to pause, step back, and analyze the situation at hand. Instead of running away from the problem, they try to eliminate the root cause of stress and find creative ways to alleviate some of that stress. Number 1, they let go of perfection. INFJs are often perfectionists, but unhealthy INFJs cross that boundary and try to take things to a whole new level. They may read an email several times before hitting send to make sure they didn't make any mistakes, and they avoid exploring new things because they're afraid of failure. An unhealthy INFJ's self-esteem is closely tied to how perfectly they perform a task at hand, since they believe that perfection can help them avoid criticism. As a result, they feel trapped in a cycle of unattainable high standards and burn themselves out. A healthy INFJ has a sense of self-control and knows when to let go of perfectionism. They allow some room for mistakes, especially if obsessing over those mistakes could cost them heavily. Instead, they learn from their mistakes and strive to do the best they can without going overboard. Healthy INFJs are not afraid of failure. They embrace it. Do you identify as a mature INFJ? How do you deal with complex situations? Which point resonates the most with you? Comment below. As always, like and share this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates on psychology.